Chazaki show. I'm the Trev. It's too sweet. Anyway, we're at a familiar point in, I guess, history repeating itself. If you remember, and if you've read the title, obviously you know what I'm talking about. Remember a couple years ago, the Arizona Coyotes almost lost their home at Gila River Arena. And they managed to work out something where they can go year by year on their lease instead of a lengthy term like most teams have. Well, today the city of Glendale announced that after this season, the 21-22 season, the Coyotes can no longer play there. They're giving them the boots. Let's talk about it. Now, the news of this comes pretty early, I guess, in terms of how the logistic and legal paperwork works with the city of Glendale and the Arizona Coyotes, because Glendale had till December 31st of this year to decide if they wanted to renew their lease for another season. Turns out, and I imagine this came after a lot of talk amongst delegates in Glendale and all that, they're not going to do that. In their statement, they have as their reasoning, with an increased focus on larger, more impactful events and uses of the city-owned arena, the city of Glendale has chosen not to renew the operating agreement. So basically, they got better things to do with their arena. And it doesn't come just out of spite, because according to reports, a lot of reports, the Arizona Coyotes are about $1.5 million, not billion, $1.5 million in debt to the city, to the arena, for not paying the rent. Do you remember a little while ago when there's a lot of talk about players not receiving their bonuses? I guess there's a lot of proof to that pudding now. And it sucks. I'm only going on an editorial right now. Because when Alex Morello came in, you remember the video I did about Alex Morello? No? Check this one out. When Morello came in, there was a lot of, how would I put it? A lot of hope that maybe a guy with deep pockets, a guy who wants to be a majority owner, could get this team back where it needs to be. Or back to a level of respectability, at least. Turns out that hasn't happened. And I don't know if that's so much Morello's fault or if that's just the culture in Arizona, because let's not kid ourselves. Arizona's been a bad team for a long time. But they're not taking this lightly. They put out a statement of their own saying, they're greatly disappointed with today's decision by the city of Glendale, but they're still hopeful they can reconsider going back into discussions openly. But most importantly, the Coyotes are 100% committed to finding a long-term solution in Arizona. We'll talk about that in a bit too. Because for every yin, there's a yang, right? Being $1.5 million in debt to the arena, that doesn't necessarily help negotiations, unless you're coming into negotiation with a big fat sack of money saying, here's what we owe you, let's talk. But that's as of July 17th, by the way. But as of this statement being released, the Arizona Coyotes, pending nothing changes, have until June 30th, 2022 to get the heck out. Now, while I'm sure the Coyotes mean well when they say they want us to find a 100% solution to staying in Arizona, I'm going to give you my opinion on this whole thing. Now, I'm sure while the plan is to at least find a way to keep the Coyotes in Arizona, you have to consider the facts. And these are undisputed. I hate to think of it as that way, but really, they're undisputed facts. Since '96, since they moved from Winnipeg, the Coyotes haven't turned a profit. Since '96, they've operated at a loss every year. That's a long time to be operating at a loss. This is going to be their 26th season in Arizona. And while the desert experiment had its time and had potential to say, hey, we can work, it hasn't worked. And if it hasn't worked for 26 years, going on 26 years, it's not going to work. It's like being in a dead-end job that's not paying you what you're worth, that refuses to pay you what you're worth. But you stick it out hoping it'll get better, it ain't getting better. My own opinion, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but feel free to give me yours in the comments. Morello needs to sell the team. He has to. If he's behind on payments, behind on rent, he's not the right owner for the team. Plain and simple. That has to be recognized. Now, whether you sell it to somebody who will keep the team in Arizona or move them, because really, if the long-term solution in Arizona can't be found, you have no choice but to move to somewhere that's NHL ready. Now, I know you know where I'm going with this, so let's consider where we could move. If we have to move the Coyotes, you have to think Kansas City, you have to think Houston. Those are the logistical best scenarios. I'll get to it. You have to remember, we've gone from how many seasons of being unstable as far as divisions are concerned. We have stability. And you want it to go for a little longer than a year. Arizona is, 2 states from Texas and not far from Kansas? If you want to keep them in the Central, those are your 2 best bets. Now, if you want to screw up the whole sense of having everything right, division alignment, all that stuff, if you want to go ahead and screw that up, then obviously consider Quebec, consider Hamilton, consider Hartford, because I'm sure Hartford would love a team back. But based on logistics, based on who in the East is going to want to move back out west, Detroit's not gonna. Columbus ain't gonna. Why would they? They have a lighter travel schedule. They don't have to go through so many time zones. Why would they move? I hate to break it to you. They're not moving out east. Not when they don't want to screw up their alignment. They work so hard to get it. They waited for Seattle. They have it. Why screw it up? I think your best bet is Houston, if it comes down to a move. I mean, yeah, Kansas has an NHL-ready arena too. Houston has been proven to house hockey. They're ready. The owners want it. Houston's a huge market, and you'll have a Texas state rivalry, which is not a bad thing to have. But again, my own opinion, Morello needs to sell, the Coyotes need to move. As much as the desert experiment, like I said, had its chance, it had it, and it sucked. Cut the cord. It's the best thing to do. So that's another one of Trev's hockey shows. I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you're here. It works out well for both of us. So why screw up a bad thing, right? But since you're here, hit that like button. While you're at it, really want to. That red button, that one that says subscribe, hit that one too. Because subscribe makes you feel good. And we're so close. Let's make that happen. I'd love to see it happen. All my socials, they're in the description down below. Moving forward, this is not the video I wanted to make, but this is the video I made. I probably got another 2 in me, I think. But we'll see where we go from here. But either way, in the meantime, and in between time, Be looking for more videos from the Trev. Later.